Before beginning, let me ask you a question. Are we having fun yet? Let's have some fun with Transform. First, make sure you are in your Mad Scientist lab. If there is anything on the storyline, please remove it. And I'm going to scroll down in Main Media until I get into my QuickTime Movies. I'm going to pick up this guy right here. We have worked with him before. And I'm going to grab this guy and drag on top. Put it wherever you want, student's choice. Now we have not a boring, but a typical B-roll edit. Goes from one to the other. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's start with picture-in-picture and then move into animating it. So, to begin, let's come up here with this one selected and go into Transform. Go to any one of the four corners, wait for the arrow, of course, and you can resize it. Now, it is resizing it around this anchor point, which can be moved if you want it to be. If you're working in the four corners, you're maintaining proportion. I am not holding the Shift key down, which is pretty common with most programs, but if I hold the Shift key down, I get to go out of proportion, which is exactly the opposite of what I'm used to. So I'm going to press Undo, my favorite key in the whole world, Command-Z. If we go to the sides, top or bottom middles, and we move, we can change actually the width or the height out of proportion. But the weird thing about that is if you hold the Shift key now, it will stay in proportion. Interesting mix. Now, if we take this and put it, say, in the corner, and just look at this real quick. Kind of a picture-in-picture. No big deal. Use them all the time. Let's have some fun and actually animate it. Now, we can do it in a couple of ways. Let's do it this way. It moves across the scene. Comes out of shot, in shot, out of shot. So let's do this. I am going to go into my inspector for a minute. We have all of the options we've been using right here. Now, the thing I like about doing it with these, and I love this feature, if you click on that and drag, it will change it. So you have a lot of control here. If we decide we don't like any of this, we can click here and turn it all off again. Now, I'm going to come up here and change my view to 12.5 because I want to show you around here what we're going to do. We are still in Transform. Grab it and drag it over here off shot, right about there. Now, what I want it to do is travel across the screen, left to right, keyframes. But we're going to do our keyframes differently. We can come over here, because we've done these before. We can do a keyframe by clicking right here. But you have another option right up here. See it? Watch what happens over on Transform in the inspector when I click that button. I get a keyframe on all of them. Now, I'm going to press Undo, and I'm going to move my playhead where I want it to be at the beginning and do that all over again for you. I now have keyframes on everything. Now, that doesn't mean I have to use all four of those things, but I've got a keyframe on every one if I choose to change them. Now, what I want to do is move the playhead all the way to the other side right there. Then I want to move this over here. I want it exactly straight, so I'm going to go position X and click and drag. But I want you to watch something else happen. Watch this little keyframe light up right here when I do this. I'm just dragging, perfectly straight. Now here's the cool thing. Final Cut Pro understands that if I created a keyframe somewhere on the clip, I move the playhead somewhere and make a change. Obviously, I needed another keyframe to make that happen, and the program added it automatically for me. Now, if we click Done, let's go ahead and take this back to Fit, and go ahead and close this out, I guess. If we come to about here, and let's go ahead and press the spacebar and see what we have. Transform is a really cool way to manipulate an image. Change it, make it bigger, make it smaller, rotate it, whatever you want to do. But in the process, we can do all kinds of things. Let me show you one more thing. Let's go into our inspector. Let's pull our playhead to that one keyframe right here. You can see it's active because you can see it. Rotation. Change rotation on the last keyframe to 360. It automatically created a keyframe. So if we come over here again and play it, let me go ahead and close this. I'm not suggesting you want to do this. I'm just saying you have control over anything in this program using these keyframes and things like Transform. You're in charge. You are the creative part of this. And let's go ahead and move on.